obrigada, gente, por ter vindo. Vamos continuar nessa discussão do professor adaptativo e ganhando insights para melhorar a nossa docência, como a gente pensa que deve ser a docência no ensino superior, e lembrando, né, que ela vive os mesmos desafios que a gente, em outras proporções, lógico, com outra cultura, com outros problemas, né, mas ela tem 300 alunos na sala dela, não me conformo com isso, e faz essas atividades todas, então a gente consegue fazer também, né? Tá bom. Thank you very much, Alessandra. Your class. Eu vou ficar com o microfone aí, se alguém...
And you know, I still apologize to, in the end, not be able so much to speak in Portuguese. I can say some words, but I feel more comfortable in English. But if it's okay for you, that I speak English and you can explain in Portuguese, this will be much appreciated. Again, I apologize for this postponing. The meeting was supposed to be held yesterday, and as Professora Jeanette said, I had a disadventure, let's say disadventure here, and it took a little bit to resolve some issues, and so I feel really grateful for the support received by Mackenzie in this situation. It has not been so easy to manage the level of distress for all the situations. So most important thing, I want to start with this meeting. This meeting was the second part of the meeting that we had on Friday, but especially for Adriana that was not here on Friday, we can make a very short relations and connections to what we discussed on Friday. The topic is adaptive teaching and adaptive learning and methods to encourage the development of adaptive thinking from our students. We also made a reference to a European Erasmus Plus project on the topic that we are carrying out. And also we made some references to the possibility for the future to have other European funded project, but with Mackenzie. And the line of fundings is called capacity building, and the idea is to reinforce our collaborations together in this joint project. First, I wanna, I made the same mistake again, but really you were my host and you were my person of reference here, and it's thanks to both of you that I was able to come here and to bring also my PhD student with me. So thank you for all of this. And I really needed to thank also the staff from the SEAT because you were super engaged and you were so kind with me. You were so able to organize and manage everything. And Anna Paula, who is not here, was yesterday my babysitter. So yeah, because I needed to bring a new chip with a new Brazilian number in order to have the possibility to be contacted from Italy. The problem was to be contacted from Italy. So thank you so much. Those are not really formal. Yeah, that's okay. So let's go very fast because we will be, I know that the semester has started, so we will use in the fruitful way the time that we will spend together. And that's my very funny icebreaking for today. It's like how to learn through and from experience. So just imagine that you are in a foreign country where you are not a fluent speaker, be robbed of your iPhone, credit debit card, and passport ID. And this is a real story. We can say that this is a real story. Yeah. And try to respond to the following questions. It's a way of making funny, okay? Who will you call? Which is the first person that you will call? But Jesus cannot help you, really. Cannot block your bank account, unfortunately.
Not so very quick.
Unfortunately, Jesus cannot block your bank account.
It's a multi-blockchain, because without your cell phone, it starts the...
No, somebody.
The first problem.
Yeah, so
How to call.
it's a very, just because we are very few, we can try to make this very interactive. Like, who will you call? What kind of resources will you try to activate? And how will you respond to this disruptive event? You said, Adriana, just a little moment before, you said something unpredictable. I could say maybe it could be predictable, but when happened, you are not really 100% ready for this. So just start 5 minutes. Who will you call?
The first thought that I had is where to call, but I don't have a cell phone. What could I do? Probably despair. Will be despair. It's 100%. And maybe if there is my hotel closer, go to hotel or a place like here that you have contacts and try to manage in the way that the country works. No? That's why.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
Very difficult.
Just to imagine, it's a very, we spoke so much about managing complex situations. I think that this is a complex situation. Who will you call?
I would just relax. Forget things. I don't know the language.
Yeah,
I don't have a phone. I don't know the language. Probably I'm lost. So just, enjoy the day. And who cares? No, what are you going to do? You're going to be stressed and so forth. No,
Even if
Probably
they
the
have
person
no-
doesn't have any contact, doesn't know your language too, is not able to manage your phone.
And the credit card.
Huh?
And your credit card. That's the point.
Yeah.
Just imagine that a good thing can happen. Happened with me. I just run from one airplane to the other one. Was December 23rd.
Yeah.
I was coming to Brazil from US, and suddenly when I was entering the second plane, where's my wallet? No
The
wallet.
same, exactly, the same.
The guy said, welcome, or next year we will see you, because airplanes are packed.
Exactly.
I say, hello, back to Brazil. Whenever I reach São Paulo, I will try to get these. 1 month later, I received an email. Mr. Seidenstricker, I was in New York City. In Atlanta, we found your wallet. We made a connection to Cornell University. There was a letter with your and so forth. And we are just contacting you to know what we should do. I said, well, thank you very much. In Brazil, I was able to talk, but this was 48 hours later.
Exactly.
And then suddenly when I got this, I sent to my brother that was in the United States. 3 months later, I got it. When my brother received got the thing, he said, check how much money is in the wallet. And he said, $150 was exactly what I had.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you have
So-
also the credit card in the wallet?
Well, yeah, all my credit cards, everything was there. My driver's license, everything was there. But the passport.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, and
That's
suddenly
another
what happened
way. That's
was that
another-
someone was going to Atlanta, dropped in the lost and found, this office that is in charge
And
of
they
this.
finally called you. Yes.
What
Thank
did I
you.
do?
What could I do?
I was
Nothing.
coming back home.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to be back home for Christmas.
Someone else? Thank you for offering this new perspective.
Yeah.
I think
There was no choice.
now I think I made everything I could do in my possibilities.
If you try to withdraw money in bank, you will have some problems here in Brazil. But the criminals are so easily to withdraw your money that I think in how intelligent or I don't know smart they are. But keep calm is the key. If your passport with you, it's a less problem. So that's a way out.
Yeah, Victoria? And it's a very funny way. Raquel, we are trying to make funny something that happened. But he offered a really new perspective.
A survival perspective.
It's
for him.
Only for him, said Sylvia.
I'm
Okay.
not person.
Well, I think that I would be a very emotionally response to this. First of all, I would sit and cry. Is the first step. Then I would search for a place where there is a cell phone or a phone. I would call my mother and say, pick the first plane and save me, please. I don't know if I could manage the situation alone. So if you did that, you are a strong person, certainly.
Yeah. No, I didn't ask to my mom, actually. No. Because I said, no, my mom will get anxious, so she will bring more anxiety. So yeah. Oh, but thank you for this other perspective. There was a Rachel or Raquel.
Oi, se eu estivesse num país que eu não conhecesse ninguém, eu ia procurar o consulado, né, para poder me auxiliar, né, no que precisaria fazer. Eu cheguei um pouquinho depois porque eu vim a pé e estava chovendo muito forte, eu tive que esperar melhorar. Você perdeu o passaporte também?
No.
Ah, ótimo.
No.
Então, menos
Passport
mal.
was in the room.
Ótimo.
Two things to save it, the passport and computer.
Yeah. Two things to save it were passport and computer.
Eu, em 2017, em Nova York, também tive a minha bolsa roubada. O inconveniente maior foi que tinha 2 passaportes, o meu e de mais uma amiga. E a parte mais difícil, assim, o que é o inconveniente, eu acho que é o emocional no momento, porque é ruim você ver que a sua privacidade foi invadida, né? Cartão de crédito, que são as coisas que resolvem o teu dia a dia no posterior. Então essa foi uma parte chata. E teve o depois, que é toda vez agora que eu entro nos Estados Unidos, eu fico mais ou menos uns 10, 15 minutos, porque eles perguntam o que aconteceu, onde eu perdi o passaporte. Então toda vez eu sei que eles vão me perguntar, eles olham o passaporte e perguntam o que aconteceu. E aí eu faço o relato, né? Então acho que esse é um inconveniente. Eu liguei para uma amiga que morava lá, foi a que me ajudou, para conversar com a polícia. Eu não falava o inglês, né? Eu não falo bem o inglês. Então o inconveniente foi fazer o descritivo, aí a amiga que teve que ajudar, de tudo que tinha na bolsa, e fazer um passaporte de emergência, para poder voltar para o Brasil.
Isso.
Inconveniente.
Thank you. So that's very funny because the first thing that I made was come back to the hotel running and take the computer to search for the room from the foreign countries of the bank account. Was exactly the first thing that I made. I was like, I don't have any hope. I don't have any hope to have again my phone, but I have all the apps. And so I said that is the first thing to do. So first I tried to call several times the bank account in order to block. And I was able to do this in 1 hour. The second hour was for calling my family. The third hour was for the consulate. And then I started to say, okay, I need to reset all the password because I had everything open. Like your personal mail, your wherever. But that's fine, and I also try to use this story to make a reflection about when our capacity of adaptivity will increase, will grow exponentially. And it's like, maybe we are talking about disruptive and this continuous experience of learning. We can say that this has been a very discontinuous experience of learning. And Antonia, that was sitting here on Friday, she said, the way you modeled the workshop was an example of adaptive teacher.
I thought to her and said, Antonia, you have no idea of how much adaptivity I showed to myself in the last 2 days. Yeah, for the last of 2 days. And I said, okay, that's the kind of adaptivity requested for very unknown situations. And that's the graphic that I tried to model for you about when our capacity of learning through the experience increases. Is exactly when we need to start from something known, but to understand how to resolve something that is ambiguous and has no clear solutions. Here our capacity of adaptive learning really increases. Oh, I'm sorry. And so this is the kind of discontinuous learning to which I make a reference on the first day. I saw that we talk about transformation, we talk about really and deep transformations. This can be an experience of discontinuous learning. That doesn't mean that we need to ask our students to make something so extreme, but we need really to think about the kind of super complex situations that can happen, and also how to help and guide them understand how to face these challenges and how to learn through these experiences. What is your takeaways from this experience? It cannot be just, oh, Brazil is not a safe place. That's not true. You need to learn. I mean, okay, I know what you say. Okay. I understood. But I'm trying really to learn from experience and through the experience about what kind of schemes of behaviors I can try in order to learn from this experience. And we talk so much about transformative learning. We talk so much about how we encourage our students to be transformative thinkers and to be critical thinkers. And so maybe we really talk just about perspective, about questioning the assumptions, about just put under question the assumptions that lead our way of thinking, but how can we be sure about the changes in behaviors? How can we be sure that our students really have a change, transformations in the way they behave? How can we be sure that when we present them a complex problems, a complex challenge, they will really put in questions their assumptions? How can we be sure about it? Can we be sure about it? And also, how can we be sure that they will integrate these new rules? And so, following what we discussed on Friday, we worked much more about our what are the characteristics of adaptive teacher. Today we are going much more about 3 simple examples of conversations in order to push for adaptive learning, in order to push students and learners and families and relatives and all hope, because it's not just something that we apply to our students, about questioning assumptions and trying to see if they are capable of experimenting new rules. These 3 examples I prepared for you are 3 different techniques that you can use every day. First one is prompt for motivation and reflection. If you see, those are techniques that you can use in order to give very bites of reflections, like chunks of reflection, okay? So for example, and you can use this before, during and after your class. It's very like micro-learning. Those are micro-learning prompt, micro-learning reflective prompt. And we discussed on Saturday about bringing chocolate to our students. Yeah. Thunderbolt. Yeah. We discussed on Friday about bringing our students chocolate as a reward, but how can we model all the experience as an experience before, during and after that push their motivation with the prompts for reflection. And those are some of the examples, okay? Some other example, I really care more about this. It's about questioning. And it's about what kind of questions can we pose. If I ask you something very personally or something very directly like, how old are you? 26. She responds to me. But if I ask you something about which is the capital of Sweden? In Portuguese, she said, I don't know the name in English. In Portuguese? Exactly. Exactly. It's Stockholm. Stockholm, yeah. But I mean, it's a very content-based question. Did you reflect on this response? No, a little bit, but it was just like, I know, I don't know. So here is the reason why it's important to work on questioning in order to open non-defensive space. And here is examples of adaptive questioning that we can pose. And we collect those examples, we collect this process of a framework, just using literature in the field and also integrating with the experience of the research that we made with professors. I just want to put your attention about the different type of questioning that we can integrate in classroom, we can integrate in our class. The first one is much more about objective. It's we were very deeply inspired by the ORID framework from Victoria Marsic, but we tried to adapt from organization to class, because we were thinking about class settings. First question is, what's happening? When you are in front of a problem, when you are in front of, I don't know, an open inquiry, what's happening? The first level is to guide the discussions and to guide the conversations with our student is what? What's happening? Who? And for example, the level is direct observable data. And the questioning is, what is the history of the situation, or what do we know about the situation? Then we have, this is the first level. Sometimes we need to stay on this level. Then we can put the second level. We cannot just run into the second and the third level. Second level is much more about reflective questions, reflective level, and it's about what is your worst fear, what does this remind you? We can use, for example, what does this remind you also for relating content to previous content and creating a chains of learning. And then we have interpretative questions. Oh, do you need any translation?
No, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome. And then we have interpretive questions like, what does this mean? What is the implications? And so on. And finally, we have much more decisional questions about what do you need to do? For example, you don't know that's just an example. You don't know the capital of Sweden. What does this remind you? What do you need to do in order to improve your knowledge about the capital of Sweden? You can respond, I can ask ChatGPT. Yeah, ChatGPT knows everything, but especially content-based. But these are the kind of conversational framework that we can have in order to push our students towards a much more adaptive thinking, instead of just, I know, I don't know. And here we have other examples that we collect from the ORID conversational framework. And we tried to unpack a little bit more on a Socrative approach about what kind of questions can we use in classroom. And if you see, we have examples of questions for clarification, probe questions, viewpoints, perspectives, and those are very questions that we can integrate in order to understand where we want to lead our students to think. Those are examples. that you can use to integrate. Last but not least, this was an example of pre-work. So while the first example are a chunk of reflective prompts, the second example is a conversational framework that you can use in the relationship with our students, in the direction with them. This one is for pre-work. So it's a kind of a table, list of questions that you can provide your students before coming to the resolution of a problem. And here is the example that you can integrate. I know that most of you used to have reflective essays in order to work and as a kind of a task for the semester. You can, for example, use this framework, this understanding the unknown framework, in order to set the reflective essay for your student. You can follow the process. You can say, identify your challenge, identify your problem, identify your real scenario-based situation. I am searching, for example, from statistics, for example. You can understand, I don't know, a real example of application of statistics, and let's try to use this process in order to ask them to fill out and to respond to this process. They cannot just respond to you, I know how to do, this is the process, but they can develop a much more reflection-oriented process about how to resolve the challenge or the situations. This is especially for inquiry-based science learning. We are testing this for inquiry-based science learning, referring to the STEM teaching. Because we often spoke about how much it could be hard for the STEM to integrate much more reflective assignment and tasks, and we are using and testing this in STEM disciplines. And it's very nice. We are going to use this, and we are going to ask students to tell us what they think about this. If they think that this kind of a process for inquiry-based science learning is helpful or not, as an effect or not. Here is an example of the resolution, is the example of how it worked with the class in organizational learning that I provided for you, just to see that it's possible to fill out this form in a very easy way. Super, super easy way. And finally, I would like to ask you to use a process like this, but referring to your capacity of students' engagement. I prepared this copy for you, and you can try. Don't look at the last page. Don't look at the last page. Really, okay? Don't look at the last.
Don't pick.
No. Please. I know, but I was trying to, I was trying to prevent you to do this. Okay, I think that someone else, Raquel. So just go on the third page. Okay. Thank you, Professor Asuelene. Just go on the third page. In the first couple of pages, I put a summary of the reflective questions that we have collected for the conversational framework about transformative adaptive learning, okay? And so you can keep it with you, because sometimes when you need to prepare a task, when you need to prepare an exercise, having a guideline for which kind of questions should I put can be very important. So I just put in the toolkit the list of reflective questions that you can take and use in your reflective assignment, or for creating your rubric, or I don't know, for creating your class task. And then let's go to this, about how to use it, how to model a process of reflection for adaptivity on ourselves, and try to respond individually, very easily, to these 4 questions. Who needs a pen? Yeah. Okay. Is there anyone who needs a pen? No. Okay, I don't know if who wants to start? Victoria, you can start.
The first question, if I recognize and empathize with my students' emotions, I think yes, I recognize, but it's difficult to manage the situation when you have a lot of students. So I would like to ask you after, how can we do that with a class with 50, 60 students or 300 students like you? The second question, I think that we professors, we need to be a little bit more, sometimes we need to be more willing to I don't know how to say, to respond what the student want to, because sometimes we want to teach something that we learned that way, but today a lot of things changed. So we need to learn how to change ourselves to teach our students.
That's so important. Say again, change ourselves to teach our students. Exactly. This is the turning point.
Yes.
Change ourselves to teach our students. And we were talking about this also with your colleague. We were talking exactly about first behavior. First is keeping the contact. Then you can build the knowledge.
Yes, because I think we had a lot of expositive classes in the past, a model with the professor saying the student hearing, just that. And today we have to interact a bit more, if it's possible, and it is possible. The third question, the dimensions, I think that the interaction with the students would be positive for both parts, for us and for the students, because we can understand what they want to learn, how they want to learn, how they understand things, in what are the difference between us. That's a point, an important point. And the last question, the examples. I think you gave us a lot of examples in these workshops, because you showed us, you used the post-its, you used you questioned a lot of what we think about what you are doing and what you teach. I think we can learn with these examples. Sure.
Thank you so
Sorry
much.
for my English.
It was perfect. It was just perfect. Thank you. And do you want to? I do remember. Do you want to add your example? Yeah, about he teaches finance.
Yes, what I was saying is that we had experience with persons that are not used with finance, so they are afraid of spreadsheets and whatever you want to prove with mathematics. So what happens is that we don't use any tool, and we start speaking with them. And we have case, we have examples, we try to figure out what are the needs, how they feel about things, what are the assets they want, how is the credit story, and things like that. We bring them to us, we empathize, we try to make connections, and independently, who is it in the degree of the level of the knowledge or whatever, we try to figure out how, because they're there, they want to know something, they want to experience something. So this is a point in this experience we had, in which we had, okay, let's figure out how we can help you. So we had theater, we had some kind of different ways of teaching them. We present situations, and instead of saying, you know how to calculate this interest rate, what? No. How do you know what is the interest rate? Oh, I read in the paper, I know my, okay. So let's bring this back. So how do you save it? How do you use this, and etc. So by doing this, I use their knowledge and not mine.
Exactly.
So I try to figure out how they can use their personal experience and, you know, bring it to the others.
Yes, starting with their stories and their personal knowledge. Do you want to add?
I will focus on the fourth question to be more.
Yeah.
An example.
Oh, you can speak in Portuguese.
Ok, tudo bem. Fui reprovado.
Really?
Yes, I'm not approved. Uns exemplos recentes, usar exemplos recentes, normalmente chamam a atenção dos alunos e aí você consegue captar a atenção deles e você consegue discutir e daí por diante você consegue chamar a atenção dele e desenvolver melhor os trabalhos. Por exemplo, Netflix mudando sua forma de cobrança e contas. Todos estão envolvidos nesse problema, todos estão interessados e você puxa o tema de aula. Né? Acho que é um exemplo, mas os demais eu vou deixar para compartilhar com a galera.
Obrigada. You.
Me?
Everything of you. Yeah, was connected with me. You can just also just one question now.
Yeah, I think in terms of being recognizing and empathizing with students, sometimes it's not a conscious move. So you might don't feel something, but you don't realize exactly what's going on. And sometimes happened with me, said, you know, John, we look at you and we saw, there's something happening here. And then after, because of my face expression or whatever.
Exactly.
And I think it's, after, this comment from friends and colleagues or family members, I start, looking and say, okay, I have to reflect more as I go through the process.
Yes.
And so this is kind of a exercise. But on the other hand, it's not being a mom, where you have to carry everybody, you have to embrace everybody, you have to be so supportive.
No.
It's something being sensitive and addressing in one way.
Yes, but without removing the obstacles and without removing the challenge that can increase, because I just saw at the beginning when our capacity of learning increase, exactly when we are most challenged. So if we create always a caring space, our students will love us. They will love. They will say, best professor of my life. But I'm not sure if they will say this, but for sure they will say, oh, professor is like a potato, or something. I don't know if it's a common expression also here. But in Italy, when a professor is very nice, he said it's like a teddy bear. Or it's like a potato. Yeah.
And then also it becomes a burden for yourself. Because you try to resolve all the problems for all your students.
Exactly.
And this is not your task. You say, okay, this is a problem, I can be sensitive, I can respond, try to help you, but this is your problem, it's not my problem. So, you know, it's separating and also helping them in terms of raising questions and so forth.
Yeah. Adriana? Thank you, Gianna. I mentioned you, Joanna. I made Gianna. Jean is the right, yeah.
John or
Jean. Joan.
Hi, it's a very reflective, sorry.
Opa. It's on.
It's on. Task, this one, because it creates in me my reflection. So I don't know how to respond exactly, but I say that all these questions, I don't know if it's 100% one side or other side. And facing different students, sometimes what occurs to me, it's that I try to recognize I try. I'm not telling that I do it, that I achieve this recognition, but I try to understand if the difference between the person that is very reflective and analytical, but it's not a person who wants to talk. Not everybody wants to talk about it, but it's analyzed. And the difference between the one that is not in this mode, it's different. And to recognize the space of the person, respect the space of the person, I think is something very, in my perspective, very complicated.
Yeah.
To know where should I go or not. So
how much should I push or not?
And so I try to be adaptive. And sometimes I wrote this, when approaching with situations that request students an analysis, the inertia is still. Even though I'm a kind of person that works a lot with questions. I start all my meetings with questions. Open questions. It's not personal questions. Questions to try to map the group. And if the group is very quiet, even though I have a very weak sign from one student, I try to get it and amplify in order to try again, to stimulate others people participation. But that's it.
Thank you. Raquel. Estava pensando aqui, eu tenho uma dúvida. Ontem, em sala de aula, eu sempre falo para os alunos que quando eles não estiverem entendendo alguma coisa, para eles sempre conversarem, falarem. E eu brinco que o aluno está com cara de não entendi, né? A gente percebe que o aluno está fora. E isso, ontem eu chamei um aluno, né? Falei assim, estou achando que você, né? Que você quer perguntar alguma coisa, né? E eu notei muita falta e comentei em sala de aula que eu notei muita falta disso durante a pandemia, porque os alunos não abriam as câmeras e para mim, quando eu estou dando aula, é muito importante olhar para o rosto de cada aluno e para os movimentos de cada aluno para tentar entender o que eles estão falando comigo, né, de modo que eu possa reconhecer e ver o que está acontecendo. E a minha pergunta, eu não dou aula em EAD, né, mas a minha pergunta é como é que fica esse tipo de coisa em aulas que são EAD, né? Que você não tem aquele contato direto com o aluno, né? Então essa é a minha pergunta
para você sobre todo esse tipo de coisa, como é que funciona quando você não tem aquele face a face com o aluno, né?
Thank you. So about the classroom with the 300 students, often they are dislocated in different rooms. It's not I could not take for granted that I have all the 300 students in the same room because of the space. And so, for example, I am in one room and there is the connection with the second and the third room. And then I have the same problems that you have, like how could I make people engaged if they look at me on a screen? I could be proactive and I could ask them to interact with me, to be present with them if they are in another room. Same problem. So I try every lesson to change the format and also to have some kind of collection of interaction from the distance rooms. Sometimes the distance rooms is just the room exactly besides, next door, but the truth is that I am here and they are there. And they can be so distracted by their phone, their computer, whatever. And at the same time, I told myself, okay, you need to invest the time to create interactions and also to ask them to interact with you and to be reporter, to have group discussions, whatever, even if they are in another room. Okay, then I made also something else. I created a system for rotation because I said I will rotate and the students will rotate. There should be dynamics in order to say, so sometimes you are in another room and I'm here. Next time you and me will be in the same room. The third day I will be in a room and you will be in another room. And this helped to create more engagement. They took this like a funny joke, but it's the way I had to create the movement and surprise in the meeting, and also to avoid to work better with just a group of students, maybe 100 that were in my same room, and lose the other 200 students that are in the other room. Sometimes they can be in another floor. Yeah. Silvia? Okay. You are holding. Yeah. I just wanna, following this conversation, I wanna ask you to go much more on a very personal engagement of you as educator and as professor. So we started from the reflection about what means adaptivity. We went through different characteristics of the adaptive teacher. We also discussed in group the different characteristics of the adaptive teacher. We saw example of micro-learning and conversational framework. We are now approaching much more personal positioning as professors and as educators, because how can we be aware of the quality of our relationship with the students? You mentioned this about the importance of teachers-students relationship, and we know that that kind of relationship is the intersubjective scaffolding relations structure that helps transformation to happen. The literature in the field said it's so much important to care about this teacher-students relationship, and this is the reason why I would ask you to respond to these questions. Oh, here is I was like trying to find a funny way to show you how much care, how much is important the presence of the professor in the students, teachers relationship. That was something much more about what you were telling, Jean. Yeah, so. But that's true. I mean, the presence of the professors increases learner awareness, increases learning outcomes, increases students' engagement. And so here is another funny way to incorporate like what people think about, what are the different perspectives of a professor of a college. Yeah. So I think that I recognize myself in someone who tries to lead, who tries to guide the reflection, an orchestra director, something of that kind, but reality is that right corner, that is reality. This is really reality. Yeah. And here it's the much more personal exercise I would like you to ask. And it's very, very much more personal. You can scan the QR code and you can, there should be a Mentimeter open with the QR code. Just give me the confirmation. There is, okay, here is, okay. And it's very funny. It's about how would your students describe you with the 3 adjectives? Oh, yeah, sure. I'm sorry. I was too fast. It's a very, very nice exercise. And it's about what would your students who maybe could follow you for an entire week would describe you and your relationship with the learners. It's a perspective-taking, positioning exercise. Choose 3 adjectives. And don't respond to me like perfect, incredible, and super. Yeah. Oh, accessibile, empatica e attenziosa. Strict, fair, helpful, very positive adjectives you are using. Hardworking. Oh, let me update. Seria or zangada or means? Angry. Thank you. Inflexible. Inflexible.
Wow. Wow.
Dynamic. Amabile and quickly. Enthusiastic. Storyteller. I would choose also busy. How would my students describe me? Yeah, busy. A busy professor. Busy. Connected, flexible, enthusiastic, cool, helpful, strict, crazy. Who says crazy? I can raise my hand about crazy. I think busy is the first, crazy is the second, for sure. Empathic, dynamics, yeah. Exigente, yeah. And rigorosa, being in 220 volt. Amazing. Super electric professor. Amazing. Close, easygoing, a bit crazy, demanding. I discovered that demanding is the 3rd exercise, the 3rd adjective that students would use for me. The first one is busy, really, they say busy. Professor Romano is really busy. They said, oh, I apologize. Careteira, exigente. Careteira means caratteriale.
Big faces, face making.
Ah, face making, okay, like very expressive, yeah. Strict and nexus, or strict and nexus but available, I can recognize, yeah. So, Facebook.
Mas não fui eu, só mas eu sei fazer.
Was you?
Não. Não, eu wasn't
I say it was me.
Really?
Você é careteira?
A little bit like an actor. I think I don't need it.
Okay.
Yeah, like an actress. I say, we are so tired, and I act like this, walking like this in the middle of the class, and
But you know what? Funny. Yeah, serio.
100%.
But that's so funny. It's so important. It is a reflective exercise. Did you ever think about yourself and about the perception that students have about yourself? Have you ever thought about yourself and how your students would describe yourself? You know that students always share ideas and thoughts and comments and suggestions on Instagram, on WhatsApp, wherever. They always say, oh, Professor Romano is la 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 la. You should do la 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 la. And you can...
They share memes about us.
They share a lot of memes, I discovered.
They show some to me.
They share
They're a discreet
You
person.
see the print in the WhatsApp group of the press of what they talk about.
Yes.
I saw once.
You did, yeah.
How did
Sometimes
you make?
I had oriented,
she was tutoring someone.
Yeah, tutoring?
and she printed the students talking about me and sent me.
Yeah, very often we also used to make the screenshot and share between professors. But it's true, students create a lot of... We don't create memes about students. Yeah, but it's very... I want to really ask you if you ever have thought about how students perceive yourself. Because that's important. That's something that we were speaking about. We were speaking about presence and keeping the contact and caring about the behavior. But how are you when you enter a room? When you enter your classes? And what is the kind of a perception? So usually you say cultura, the image that the others have on you. How you say, there's an expression about, there's an expression in Portuguese about the image that you give to the others, the public image. I will check and I will find out. It's not impressão, not cultura. No, okay. Yeah, culture is just culture. Okay, perfect. But it's very important. It's about what kind of a perception students have about me. And so that's the reason why I would like to...
The saying is, a primeira impressão é a que fica.
Is a primeira impressão é que fica. Yeah, first impression is the one that stays. Yeah. And that's the reason why... No. And that's the reason why I ask you to go to the last page.
And the very nice professor is the cafe latte professor.
Cafe latte?
Yeah, professor.
It's an expression?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Not in Italian.
But in Portuguese, cafe latte.
Café com leite, yeah. Café com leite.
Café com leite is the way to say a teddy bear professor.
Mas é café com leite, que não vale.
Really, teddy bear professor is café com leite?
Anything that is not for good, not for real, is café com leite.
Really?
If you're playing soccer and there's a guy that is café com leite, that is so-so. Okay. He doesn't count. He's not good.
If the professor doesn't grade you, right, he's going to pass anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Café com leite.
Exactly. It's something that we used to say, potato professor. Yeah. Potato professor. So last page, last exercise and last page, in order to have a very continued discussions about this before we will going to have a cafe, a real cafe. This is the kind of exercise I would like to ask you, and it's about positioning, graphic positioning. Just imagine that we identified the 3 adjectives that students will use in order to describe ourselves. And here I would like to ask you, when will you pose yourself on this diagram? It's very graphic.
Personal?
By me,
Yeah.
my
How do you see yourself?
opinion
Not
of
how do you
myself.
see yourself?
Because there's a difference between the two? Oh, check it both. check both. Go on the last page and check both. Just imagine where your students will put you, where your students and when you will put yourself, and try to see the difference. I can tell you that no way my students will put me here.
Really? Formal?
Really? No way. I'm pretty sure of this. No way. I can...
Try to guess.
Me too.
But try to put yourself where your students, Raquel, will put you. Yeah.
Aesthetic and informal. Yeah.
Try to indicate exactly the point where your students will put you and where you will put your and where you will put yourself. It's very different and it's very positioning. This is a real positioning that you need to do about yourself. Only one point, Silvia?
Very formal, highly critical.
The students always tell me that I'm very formal and highly critical.
Really?
And I think that I am. So, the same point.
If
in the
you,
graphic.
yeah, if you would like to explain us why they will pose you there, in that corner, my same corner, why?
Why? Because I am like this. That's why.
What are the indicators that you prove that you are exactly in this way?
When I start my class, one of them told me that I don't know if I like you or dislike you. You are so formal, and I like your classes. I like what you say, but you are so serious. Why don't you laugh sometimes? And I said, well, I don't like to laugh. I'm only trying to explain to you something that I think that is important for you to know and to practice. So why I have to laugh sometimes. So they only think about
Only. Thank you. Someone, oh, please.
Yes, but
Where did you, oh, you put in the same corner.
yeah, I
We are-
am.
okay, so-
I am formal finance.
Professora Jeanette, me,
Yeah.
Silvia,
Yes.
we are all in the same corner.
There is no way you teach finance or economics and you are a funny person. Sorry. Sorry, you are not a funny person. You want to be funny, go on and talk about other things. If you want to be very critical, it's sociology and whatever. But I don't think they can see you as a person, even if you try. She is very strict because she is like this. I know her a little bit. And we have works together. But I try sometimes to be not funny, not to tell jokes, but to be more informal sometimes. But it's difficult for them. So what I feel, and I wanted to ask you this, because I used to teach education classes too. What I know is that what you learn the deeper is the emotional way. When you have emotion, you don't forget forever. So what happens is that I try to put them in a situation in which they see themselves or they live something, and hence they learn by experiencing. Similarly, if they were living this, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think this is what happens. I see sometimes students 10, 20 years after, I'm already 23 years here. So, and they tell me, I couldn't forget, the lesson you
Exactly.
This is nice because you see that you made a difference.
Yes.
Sometimes even I was a guy who is strict, and they think that I'm strict, but they think I'm fair too. So I think this is what I want them to see, and to try to figure out how to deal with this. And we are in a society that, they don't give the privilege to the ones that get knowledge and understanding. You see what I mean? The smart guys are better. Not the straight way to do it. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to speak about ethics, about other things, without being strict. And you don't have, for instance, they try to ask me, okay, can you explain us how to do Caixa 2, which is, and I say, okay, I know I was an executive, a high executive, but you think I will teach you this? Come on, this is a master class. So you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but what I think is that it's very difficult for the students to see you as a regular person, which is trying to help them to pass a level, or it's sometimes you are a problem from the diploma and what they want, and sometimes you need to tell them that they need this and they don't know, as a parent,
Yes.
And I think you must have this figure. You must act like this sometimes. This is why I put myself as formal, maybe.
Yes, and
You
also
see?
critical.
Yeah.
But thank you, because we perceive the kind of deep reflection that you have on yourself and on your experience. It's something that we perceive.
Okay.
So thank you so much. Thank you. There was Raquel, and it's okay for you if we? Yeah. Okay. Where did you put yourself?
I put myself very formal and empathetic. Yes. Because different from Professor Davis, my subjects are related to people, organizational behavior, human resources. So I always say you can bring your experience, your personal experience, your professional experience, and I'm always learning more from you than you learn from me. Because I worked in services before I changed my career, and I have this view of services. If you work in a bank or other industry, please bring your experiences to this class. And they say that I am empathetic because they always, please, can you change the date to this activity? Please, can you change the date of the exam? Sometimes when it's possible, I change. Sometimes when it's possible.
I'm really learning from you because, exactly. I am the type of person that says, we agree that the day is on 8th of February. I could never forgive myself if we change the day. So that's just why I'm learning from you. That's very important.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
After the other Raquel, I'll talk so I can go along with
Patrice. Raquel? There was also Adriana too. Yeah.
I am exactly in the other side. I put myself in more very informal and overly empathetic.
Really?
Yeah. I think...
Silvia said it because it's statistics.
I think I think the way I am in classes, and many times they want I share with them some experiences I had, like a student or like a teacher, or other experiences that some friends or family had.
and they like when it's something personal, and that I'm telling by an example. And I think they talk with me, I talk with them, and then I think then I gave them freedom to talk with me. Sometimes I say, don't say bad words in class, because they say without, I say, what are you telling? What are you saying? And they say, what I said, teacher? I said, you said a bad word. You can't say talk like this when you are on work. Then here you don't say too. If we met outside the university, you can talk bad words to me and it's okay, but not inside the university. And then they feel comfortable. And I think that they feel that I am very informal, but I think that I feel that I am over more, not totally, but a little over empathetic, and they think that I am highly in the other side, but very informal.
Very formal but critical.
Yeah. I think they think this, but I'm telling, sometimes change the date of one thing. They have to study a lot my list of exercises that are very long, and they sometimes one exercise in computer they take more than 30 minutes to do, because I use some package, but I want them to know to solve it in Excel, to do all the logic thinking that they have to do. Yeah. And I know that especially when they are at night, that they study all day, and sometimes they say, teacher, we couldn't do, please postpone, because we want to do, and then I postpone. If I see that I can, I postpone. Sometimes I say, we won't have time to postpone, so be careful and to have the things done for the date.
Exactly.
But sometimes if I can postpone and they ask and I see that, I always say I will postpone, but you will have to give me a good
reason.
No, the feedback of you will have to be good, because I will give you more time. Not feedback for me, feedback from them. The grades, yes, they have to really to study, not only to postpone. Yeah. But they can talk, and they have all my phone, my cell phone. Sometimes they ask something.
They have your cell phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an.
And I have never had any problem with this.
Okay.
Never. And they have a lot of time, because I am a statistics teacher. When they are in the end of the course that they have the TCC, many times they ask me, I am in this, can I talk with you? I am in one situation, I want to know exactly what is the better way to do with the dates I have. And then everybody has my phone. No problem, never I receive anything that wrong. They never send me things in the hour like that I am sleeping and things that never have any problems. Because of this, I say that I am very informal.
You are very informal. Really, Adriana was exactly beyond you, because you really are very informal. Yeah. Is there anyone else who gives you, okay, so it's a common practice.
We have WhatsApp group in our classes.
WhatsApp group,
they have our,
through the WhatsApp group, okay.
But even when we didn't have WhatsApp.
When we didn't have WhatsApp, they have my phone.
They have your phone, okay, perfect. Adriana, where did you put yourself?
I would like to ask you one thing. Why empathetic must be the opposite of critical? Can we stay only in one quarter?
Sure. Well,
I stay forever there because I think
it's a little bit polarized because it helps the people positioning.
I understood.
Yeah. But usually you can be empathetic and
because
critical too.
Maybe if I do like this, like a scale, I will be sometimes, because in one point, another point, I will be in the other side, maybe I'll be in the middle.
Yeah.
But I put myself as formal and critical.
And critical.
But there are many times that they approach me, that I'm empathetic.
Yes.
And if I say yes, I have a reason. If I say I can, I explain them because I think justifying, showing the reasons is important to connecting people.
Exactly. So you are in that corner with some kind of exceptionality according to what happened. Someone else, or Raquel. Raquel, Professora Solene. You say like, she.
Okay, just to pair up with Patricia, yes, empathetic and informal. But it's interesting because I'm empathetic and informal. For example, with the dates, we would like to change. Okay, let's change. We would like to hand in later. Okay, but they know that if they hand in later the papers, they will suffer loss in their grades. 1 week, 2 weeks, they will suffer loss. But I rather they hand in, because then they do and I grade. And because I'm very informal and empathetic, they think, oh, you correct, oh, you are being strict, and oh, you know all our names. Yes, I do. I know who you are. You told me you play the guitar. You told me you live in such a city. I know all the details about them because I talk to them, and they kind of get, oh, because I'm very, informal, but I read the papers, I correct, I relate with them, and not I'm informal, but I'm strict in the sense that I'm a real teacher. I teach and I correct.
You
but
won't pass anyone.
And I won't pass. I'm not cafe latte, but I smile all the time. I am happy, and I teach, but with a smile on my face because I'm happy. I'm a happy teacher, and I'm there. But sometimes they think, that she's, like I can do whatever I want. I said, no, you're not. Yeah, you cannot do whatever you want here. This is a classroom.
Yeah.
You cannot use the language you want to use. Not because I'm happy and we're doing this in a nice way. That you can.
Yeah.
But I've had students. Oh, I'm high. Oh, I drank. It's like, okay. Oh, it's okay. You can go back to the bar and continue there drinking. It's okay. For me, it's like, it's okay, no stress. Like, no, it's okay, go back to your friends and come next class. I know that other professors are like, oh, that's the end of the world. Oh, it's okay. You're young and go ahead, go back to your friends. So, empathetic and informal.
Thank you, Professor Swelene.
We still have time?
Yeah.
Okay, quick. I think the same. I think I am very informal and empathetic. I joke a lot. Most part of the time, we were exercising together and solving problems. And they are in a rush. Then I joke a lot. I think I am kind of a Mary Poppins way. Spoon full of sugar helps the medicine go down. I joke a lot with them. I think I am like that.
Thank you. Someone else? Mariana, where did you put yourself? I searched on internet for Copenhagen. I understood that
Did you try?
No, I didn't. No, because it happens the hell. But yeah. But I I searched for Copenhagen is a brand of chocolate here. Yeah.
It's cheaper, so it's easy to give the student. I consider myself informal, but a little bit critical with them. But I think they consider me a little bit formal, yeah, and critical as well, yeah, with them. I'm really, you need to go, you need to try, you try again, and you know, I understand them, but I'm really, really critical, because I think teaching calculus, if you don't teach the first semester, and you don't, you know, hand them, they will not go through the other semester. So I think I'm a very, I'm not like Raquel, that it's okay. For me, it's not okay. You need to be here with me, and I need to teach you, and that's it.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Yeah, and then I can give you the chocolate. But first, you need to stay here.
I'm really tough with them.
Yeah. Thank you.
But I don't give, I don't grant the presents, okay?
Yeah. Very.
You can go, but you're not here.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
I'm not saying that I grant the presents.
That's true. Lisa, and then, yeah.
I think I am empathic and informal, but my students think that I am critical and formal. It's different. But I'm really impacted, I'm really open to them, and a lot of students become my friends, really, when they graduate. But I'm really critical. I'm just like Marianne, you have to be here, and I have to know that you're trying and make an effort to learn. But I engage to them, and I know them like Raquel does, and I know their names and where they live and stuff like that. So I think I'm in the middle.
Yeah. Last but not least, Victoria.
Oh, keep this one.
Well, I think my students think that I am very formal and highly critical, but I think I am not overly empathetic in the end, but a little formal. Just a little formal, not very formal. But I think that they think that I am very formal and highly critical. Also in the answer, dear, I don't know, João, dear João, I am not going to do that. Have a good weekend. But it's formal. I think they think, and sometimes I note also like.
You can tell in
afraid. Paura.
Paura.
Medo of them to say something to me, to question, and I don't know why. I am a good person, but I think they are a little scared.
You recognize the kind of authority they put on you.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is another thing. I think this is another thing.
Yeah.
You can be informal and say no.
Yeah.
You can be.
And put boundaries.
Yes.
Yesterday I received an email. The first day, a student. I came from Orlando, and the plane was late, and I lost your class. Can you give me presents? And I said, no, I can't. Sorry, I can't. But it will
You
be
are not there.
But
it's illegal.
No, but I recommend that you read the book, these pages, because I gave something in the class, and read the plano de ensino. To know the things that happen in the class. I see you on Wednesday. Bye bye.
Yeah, exactly.
Informal, but
yeah,
informal is one thing, and to do the things correctly, it's another thing.
Exactly. I know colleagues that are, some of my colleagues are very informal, very informal, I should say the truth. And that's the reason why I told myself, you are very formal, because if I think comparison, my way of being in class, my way of behaving, my way of acting, and the way they behave, the way they act, I said, we are completely two different styles. And so I recognize the kind of informality, and I can recognize how much I can be formal, not informal. But I really care about the learning of my students, and like, okay, I really want to be critical with you just in order to help you understand why, just in order to provide you more elements to reflect on yourself. I'm going to finish, and finishing is not easy because it seems like the end of a wonderful experience. And so I prepared this for you on Saturday morning before going out for lunch. And then
When you change your mind?
No.
She's very consistent.
Thank you for everything. This was created exactly Saturday morning, so I don't have any one of these pictures anymore. because I was really, And but I saved this because I sent this to via email and say, what do you think about this video that I have created? And that was the reason why I was able to get this video back. And so thank you for everything. This is my story of this wonderful experience, and thank you for all you made for me. Thank you so much. Thank you. I created a folder. That's very nice, this story. I said to myself, I created a folder where you can find the handout, and in case you have some pictures together, just because I don't have anything, you can easily put in the Google folder I created. So you should have the complete access to this Google folder. It's something very, very small. In case you have you can upload, and I can keep the memories of all this incredible experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Alessandra. You talked about emotion. We are all full of emotions now. And it was an incredible time together. We learned together, and I'm very excited from what we will do next, because it's not finished here. We have a lot of work together, and I think we will be in contact ever. So, obrigada, gente, obrigada por ter vindo aqui nesses encontros. Isso mostra que é importante para vocês, né? Nós não somos muito, mas somos aqueles que acreditam no processo e que querem aprender juntos e queremos trocar, né? E acho que ela deixou várias fontes para a gente, material que a gente pode usar, tipos de perguntas que a gente pode fazer dentro da sala de aula. E acho que o mais importante, né? Quer dizer, a gente está indo para além dos aspectos cognitivos, né? Do que o aluno sabe ou não sabe, mas as perguntas reflexivas ajudam ele a dominar melhor o conteúdo específico que você tem que dar dentro da sala de aula. Então, acho que agora é a gente, está com a gente. Nós temos que aplicar tudo isso, já fomos inspirados, agora cabe a gente adaptar para as nossas salas de aula. So you gave them a lot of materials to adapt, and we will use this and see the results. And I was told that these emotional questions or these reflective questions help students to learn better the subject that they have to master.
Thank you. Just obrigada por tudo isso. Isto?
Like a student, e a presença?
Mariana, o mais importante é a presença, e vocês vão receber o certificado. Poderia ser melhor essa. Pode, Mariana. Vamos tirar a última foto, gente? Vamos de um jeito diferente?
Just I would like to say something. The other important thing is the view of your colleagues has about you. It's different from the students and for yourself. And I would like to say something. I really learned how to be interactive, because you should be formal, but I would say that you are a friendly, interactive, formal teacher.
Thank you. Also, you're so welcoming, and everyone who arrived here late, and you said, no, you're not late, you're just in time, and it's okay, it's optional, you don't have to write, and you're not pushy at all, né? Não impõe nada. I think I've never seen before, like someone so welcoming, so no, that's not mandatory, empathetic, so even maybe a little bit formal, but so empathetic that you don't judge like formal. It's so amazing, amazing. And learn so fast, like Portuguese.
I would like to add,
that I note this change on me because I never was this person that you saw saying, conversating, participating.
It's true.
I am a quiet person in general. I enter and I go back without conversing, without talking.
She enters the teacher's lounge.
And I don't know what happened, but you did that.
No, you did that.
The class.
The class.
The picture. Let's take a picture.
Let's take the confirmation de presenza and